Hey guys, how's it going? We're going to talk a little bit of Husker football. Big game against Chase Brown and against Illinois. They're rated, I believe, 17th in the country. Big favorites now to come out of the West. They were able to scrape out a win against Iowa. Their only loss is to a team, I believe, in the East in Indiana. That was in week 2 all the way back then. So Brett Bielema has done a nice job of scraping by. Now, none of these teams in the West have such a prolific offense, but Tommy DeVito, I like him as a quarterback. I've always thought that he has good arm talent, and Tommy's a guy that is very experienced, and he's from Kansas, and that's or he's from Syracuse, and that's why that was a really good get by Brett Bielema. And I also love him going out there and getting a guy that was on Arkansas staff who had a lot of success with Jeff Traylor when Jeff Traylor went to UTSA, and that is Barry Lunney. So I thought that hire was good. Walters as a defensive coordinator too. Walters is a young, energetic coach, really good teacher. So Walters is also a good guy as a D coordinator from Missouri. So really previewing and looking at Mickey Joseph now. Mickey Joseph in a press conference, he wins it. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Mickey Joseph wins press conferences because he wins it because he is so honest, authentic, and humble. He has all of those traits in a press conference. Again, he's also played at Nebraska, stuff that we've covered before. So the thing, what do you want to see now from Mickey Joseph and this team? It's interesting. Mark Whipple, a little bit of an older guy dealing with health problems. So again, we pray that Mark can, be healthy enough to coach. Is Mark going to be the long-term guy that's the offensive coordinator? Because he's bounced around a lot of places. He hasn't stayed at a place very long except for when he was a head coach. I still think Mark is going to call plays this year, or Whip's going to call plays. But I like Bill Busch, actually, as a defensive coordinator. He's done a great job in that role. So it kind of depends on what are we looking forward to next year. But I really like how Mark Whipple, or how Mickey Joseph talked and was very transparent about. Mickey Joseph likes playing physical football, but he also talked about how the guys needed to get a certain amount of rest during the bye week so that they are fresh at the time of Illinois. So Mickey Joseph, his intensity, his attention to detail is absolutely tremendous. His recruiting acumen, his recruiting ability. He really knows, he's really getting on the trail, and he's really trying to recruit. And right now, he even admitted this. He's like, it is a little bit challenging because, again, Nebraska's in the midst of a coaching search, and he's the interim coach. So I think for fans, it's really difficult not to like Mickey. And I read YouTube comments on Mickey Joseph, and even if fans were not, even if I read no comments, I really love what Mickey Joseph's done with this team. I think all of Nebraska appreciates that they're making them competitive in these games here after the team was not competitive at all. And against Purdue, maybe you could criticize the defense, but again, Purdue's a really good football team. I really like this matchup for Nebraska because when you play Illinois, they are not that explosive of a passing game. So Purdue, when you have an explosive passing game or an explosive run game, an offense that could just hit you, I guess you can argue Chase Brown can hit you for 60-yard runs. But when you have offenses like that, those are scary teams to go against because they can blow you out. Even Oklahoma football, they have an explosive offense with Jeff Lebby and a healthy Dylan Gabriel. And that's what you saw. Georgia Southern, up-tempo, will throw it on you. That's a scary offense to go against. But a team that is going to play in the trenches, that is going to line up and try to smash you with running the football, that's a team that you can honestly stay close with in a game like this. You also have the home crowd advantage that's going to get into a game like this. And so for Mickey Joseph, he is battling guys that have done it longer, all right, as head coaches. That's not Mickey's fault, but that's the way that it is because Mickey hasn't been in that situation yet. But Mickey could be a gem, all right, just like Sam Pittman, just like we've talked about. But you have Matt Rule. Now, Matt Rule was a failure at the NFL level. Matt Rule's offenses were never that dynamic, but the defense is always overachieved and were always phenomenal. Dave Aranda's the same exact way as Matt Rule to me. All right? His offenses are not that explosive at Baylor. They're not. But the defenses are always organized and always play pretty good football. And that's what Big Ten football is all about. So they always play well. The team that I'd say has the most maybe explosive offense out of the guys that they're looking at, Lance Leipold for sure. And then you look at Adrian Martinez, ironically, and how Deuce Vaughn, and that offense has versatility and pop that I believe that Baylor and Matt Rule and Aranda never had. They're not as successful as Baylor on the defensive side of the ball, but when everybody's healthy on Kansas State, that team can be an 8 or 9 win team. I believe that Deuce Vaughn is one of the best running backs we've seen. Now, you could also point out the recruiting acumen of Matt Campbell at Iowa State. All right, but I view Matt Campbell at Iowa State. I think he's fine, 7 or 8 wins. Like, I think that you're going to get better if you're Nebraska. But I think Mickey Joseph is just, I think he's the home run hire, because I think that the chance of hitting a home run with Joseph, the chance of winning big, because Brock Purdy was fine at Iowa State. Breece Hall was very good. Montgomery. So you really recruited well. Looking at Breece Hall, wow. You really recruited the running backs well at Iowa State. But Mickey Joseph, the way he can develop wide receivers, the way he understands that Anthony Grant is frustrated because he hasn't gotten as many yards against Purdue. Mickey Joseph is so honest, and he understands his program's problems. And he just is out working guys every day to fix it. And I guess right now a lot of it is an emotional argument, but I just think Mickey Joseph is a guy that in this business, in college football, you have to be persuasive. And I believe that Mickey Joseph is just so emotional and he's persuasive. And that, I believe, is a very powerful tool when you're trying to build a college football program. He adds juice. Mickey Joseph's a name, and he adds juice. And he's Nebraska's. And what's the harm in Mickey getting 2 years or 3-year deal? What's the harm in, I guess, seeing if it's a home run or not? I guess, because actually, the more you look at it, Jim Leonard could be at Wisconsin. In 3 years, you're going to have coaching candidates again that are very good coaches. So I guess people could argue and say, hey, if Mickey fails, you're just going to go a notch down again. They're pretty dang down. They lost to Georgia Southern, haven't made a bowl game in 4 years. It's not like, for everything I've said about Frost, I love Frost's personality and, Frost at UCF, and Frost knows how to run the football, and Scott gave everything to this program, and Scott Frost took a chance on Nebraska when he was at UCF, came home, did everything he could for the team. I really believe that. So Scott Frost, again, still emotionally attached to Scott Frost. Hometown Wood River guy. But you know what happened with Nebraska and Scott Frost? They didn't win any games. They didn't win any bowl games. They didn't get to a bowl game. So why not keep Mickey Joseph for 2 to 3 years and try this? The upside is, I'm telling you that the recruits, if Scott Frost can really recruit, I believe Mickey can do the same thing. Mickey knows Nebraska. And unless they get blown out by Illinois, I think they can win this game against Illinois and prove to Trev Alberts that he can be the guy. Because guess what? If you're Mickey Joseph right now, and if I was Mickey Joseph, and Trev Alberts and Nebraska said, hey, these guys over here, Dave Aranda, Matt Rule, Matt Campbell, these guys have been coaching longer. I would be like, sure, I understand that. Their head coach has been coaching longer. Hey, Mickey, you're going to be on staff. You're still going to be an assistant coach. You're going to go out and recruit, and you're going to be on staff. I'm sure Nebraska fans would like that. But Mickey Joseph, man, I mean, that's the thing, Mickey. You're getting a taste of what it's like to be a head coach. You're winning games. I know that Husker fans are not going to like me saying this. But guess what? If I were Mickey Joseph, I'm winning games. I'm like, the heck with that. The heck with that. I can win at this level. I can coach at this level. I can be an FBS coach. I can be a Power 5 coach. Arizona State should look at hiring me, or just like Sonny Cumbie, who coached at Texas Tech as an interim, I'm going to be a Group of 5 coach and be excellent there. And I want to run my own show. That's what Mickey Joseph should be feeling, especially if they beat Illinois and win these games, because Mickey Joseph's allowed to have a little bit of self-confidence. He's allowed to have a little bit of self-esteem about himself. And, I mean, Mickey could still, if he's happy being at Nebraska, he can be an associate head coach. I really don't think you're getting Mickey back. Even with Dave Aranda at LSU, I really don't think you're keeping both of them. I guess that is the quote-unquote, to me, I want Mickey actually to work. I'm actually rooting for him to win all these games and for him to work. I'm all the way bought in. All the way. I guess it's the press conferences. It's whatever exposure you see of Mickey. There's just something special with Mickey Joseph. And you know what that something special is? The personality. It's the it's the toughness. It is having the guts to move on from a popular guy in Chenander, putting Bill Busch in a situation to be successful. That took a ton of guts. He could have easily just rolled with Chenander. But you know what Trev Albert said to Mickey? This is your show. This is your team. And Mickey's like, okay, you know what? It is. And then he fired a guy that was really good last year because he's like, I think Bill Busch can be better. Bill Busch was like a special teams coordinator, hasn't been a DC in like 4 years. Look at that move now. It's paying dividends. That's a gutsy move. The benching Casey Thompson in a game like that. That's a gutsy move. Putting in younger guys. And the New Mexico transfer, Calzada, is leaving the team. But that's gutsy moves by Mickey Joseph. Putting in Brock Purdy. So Mickey's showing that, hey, he's thinking for the future. He's putting in Brock Purdy. So he's doing things that are next level special stuff. He's making tough decisions up there as the head coach. And I'm telling you, Nebraska's going to be juiced. This game in Lincoln is going to be going. And I really think that there's a great chance to win this game. I think Matt Rule probably has a great opportunity. I'll be the first to admit right now. Right now, Mickey's probably the leader in my eyes right now. And Mickey does have a head start because he is there, so he does have that advantage. If he loses to Illinois badly, I'm sure that, unfortunately, it is going to affect it. Each game does affect it. Each game is a window. I think we'd all be lying when Lance Leipold was 4-0. If Lance Leipold went to Oklahoma and won with a backup quarterback, and he won, say, 40-20, and the defense was really good, unlike the past couple weeks at Kansas, that would change our perception about it. Because these guys are all close. These guys are all qualified. These guys are all very good coaches. Even if Matt Campbell and these guys don't have a great season, whoever you kind of thought was your guy, you're probably going to be sticking on that side. If you think that Lance Leipold's the guy, if you think that Matt Rule's the guy, Matt Rule isn't even going to coach. You think that Dave Aranda's the guy. These are kind of rebuilding situations even for a lot of these guys. Like Aranda just got to just won the Big 12 championship. He's a Sugar Bowl champion. Now, I know Matt Corral went out of that game, and so this year, if they go 6-6 or whatever, it's like, okay, they had one down year, but they still are going to make a bowl game, and they still were one of the top 5 teams in America last year. So everything's kind of set in stone already with those guys. But what I'm saying, I guess, is what Lance Leipold is that there is a little bit of jockeying in terms of, especially with maybe a guy like Lance Leipold who is so young into his tenure at Kansas. Some of the guys like Matt Rule, Campbell, and Aranda, they've been there for like 3 or 4 years. Kleiman, I guess, has a lot of ability for upside because he hasn't been there that long. So whoever you kind of wanted already is kind of still going to be leading in your mind. And Mickey's got to make it tough. He's got to continue to make it very equal, and he's got to continue to keep winning these games. And this is a game against a great opponent, a top 17 team. This could be a statement. If Nebraska wins this game by 2 scores. Their defense is balling. The D-line is going. This could be a statement for Mickey Joseph.